And good evening, and welcome to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. And we have a lot to get to tonight, so why don't we jump right on in. First and foremost, here's where you can find our show online. The first place, and the most important place, is our website, which is ahpod.com. If you're listening to this episode, there is a new update to that website and on our blog, which more on that in just a second. But you can also find us on various social media platforms, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for America's Hometown Horror, and you will find us. And you can also email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. We also have two partners that we're working with, first of which is Horror Facts Magazine. You can find them at horrorfacts.com. It's a great resource for any horror fan for news, reviews, editorials, and all kinds of horror podcasts, including ours. And last but certainly not least, we are partnering and are now an affiliate of Fangoria, the first name in Fright since 1979. Head on over to shop.fangoria.com/hometownhorrorpod and use the code hometownhorrorpod at checkout for an exclusive 20% discount for our listeners on any merchandise and first-time magazine subscriptions. So head on over and check yourself out with some Fangoria swag and be looking fly and spooky at the same time. Last but certainly not least, if you want to support our show directly, head on over to inebriart.com. We are part of the Inebriart Podcast Network, and we're very grateful to be a part of that. And you can buy yourself some tickets for the Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention, which will be taking place on October 28th of this year at Mayflower Brewing Company in Plymouth. And, as I mentioned, on our website there are more frequent updates now, including the one I posted on there last week about said Horror Fest and some details that I was able to reveal for our halfway to Halloween coverage on our show. But, with that being said, good time as any, I should say, to introduce my fellow co-hosts. Andrew, Kat, Matt, Lady, gentlemen, hello!
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 How are you?
Hello!
What's happening?
What's up?
Guys, everyone have a nice halfway to Halloween celebration. I think we did some celebrating over the weekend.
Yeah.
We did. Good times.
A really fun thing that we're going to be talking about in great detail here in a few minutes. But as I alluded to at the top of the show, if you're listening to this episode, that means it is Wednesday, a Wednesday of whatever week that we are in here in May, because it's already May. And there's a new blog from Matthew up on our website right now. First in a series called Brutality. I believe the Brutality series. A look into extreme horror, if I remember correct.
In cinema, like, there's going to be some stuff that's like horror adjacent. But not that are still just like gonna be your harder movies to. So I'm gonna subject myself to all of that, so you don't have to.
Okay.
Unless you want to.
Very noble of you on behalf of our listeners and readers.
Yeah, my wife's super happy about it.
Are you watching now? Don't worry.
Yeah, I am gonna have the first like official movie entry will be ready probably on Monday.
Okay, beautiful. Well, you can read the first edition of Matt's series up on our blog right now, as I mentioned, in addition to the piece that I wrote about the Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention. Go on over to our website, ahpod.com, and check those bad boys out. And I believe that Andrew's going to be writing something shortly. That could be coming next week or at some point soon.
So, yeah.
Guys, no Yellow Jackets this past week. I guess they're on a mid-season break, apparently. Are you all caught up?
I watched that episode.
What's that?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I haven't had a chance.
You haven't had a chance to watch
Now
any
you
of
have
it?
a chance to catch up
Now I can get caught up.
this week.
Yeah,
Yep,
there you go.
Now or never.
Have you continued with Dead Ringers, or is that
I
ship
still only
sailed?
watched the one episode. I haven't gotten. It was a busy weekend.
I know, a
It
lot
was a
going
busy
on.
weekend.
It's okay. Well, guys, a couple of things that we're going to talk about here on Watchlist, I have a feeling. So, Evil Dead Rise, now up to $86 million at the box office as of yesterday, which would be Tuesday. So not, in fact, a little bit of money, but quite a bit of money. And it's pretty funny to think that this movie was going to be released straight to video on demand and was going to skip theaters for a little while.
Kind of crazy, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's unbelievable. I don't understand.
I'm glad they fixed that. But
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the studios are kind of coming around, and everybody was on board with like the dual release or the straight to streaming service releases, with COVID and everything. And I'm happy to see that horror movies are doing well at the box office again, and I think Evil Dead was kind of the shot in the arm that people needed for that.
the theaters are bouncing back a bit.
Yeah,
there's been some. They've made a lot of money. I mean, even just that fucking Mario movie made like
Oh, that Mario movie.
$1
Mario movie was going to make a bazillion dollars regardless. Anyway, I mean, I feel like that movie looks awesome. I actually can't wait to see that. I'll watch that with Bridget for sure. But I have a feeling we're going to talk a little bit more about Evil Dead Rise here in a second. But before we get to that, also, if you're listening to this, you can now watch the following at home, available to rent. Renfield, which I was actually able to watch today, and you can also rent The Pope's Exorcist, which stars Russell Crowe doing a Mario accent.
I'm Russell Crowe.
And also a
Does it
movie.
really do a Mario accent?
Oh, it's like an Italian accent in the vein of like Mario. I guess it's a really bad Italian accent.
What is he, Australian?
He's Australian, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
It was so much shit.
And what was I going to say? Oh, and 65, which is a movie I believe you saw, Andrew,
I did
correct?
see that.
In theaters.
In
Yeah.
theaters.
I'll definitely be checking out Pope's Exorcist and 65 at some point, but I'm probably not going to pay $20 to rent them. Renfield was a different story because that was one that was tailor-made for me. But you guys want to talk about Evil Dead Rise a little bit? I know Kat and I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
Yeah, we'll do spoiler free.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
we'll give a good gist. It was me, Andrew, and my buddy Mike Panetti went and saw it on Saturday. It's Mike's birthday today, so happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So pretty full theater for the most part.
Yeah.
Good it was kind of a talkative crowd, which was a little weird. But in terms of like reacting to the movie, you had a lot of people like yelling at the screen.
People
like,
were talking during the movie?
Yeah, there was
a
like
little bit.
full-on
There's-
conversations
yeah,
going on.
There's
at some
a
point.
few groups of people that were kind of talking a lot.
Yeah,
I
it was,
feel like
it was
people
weird.
Did the-
after
was the-
COVID don't really get movie rules sometimes.
I guess not.
It's
yeah.
weird.
Did the crowd skew younger a little bit, you think?
No,
No, not at all.
not really.
Just rude
I don't
old
think
people.
it
There's
rude
definitely
older
younger people in it, but it was a mixed bag. But people were like yelling at the screen, like, "Don't go
Don't
in
go
there!"
in
Like,
there!
and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was
Yeah,
it was
made it fun.
that made it exciting. There was definitely the cheese grater scene was the big, like, gross. Like everyone was like,
I can imagine.
so it was. I had a lot of fun watching it. It was fucking great. By the way, this is the best movie I've seen this year so far.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, this is definitely the best scene this year.
Yeah,
Liked it more than Outwaters?
yeah, much,
Okay.
much more. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like not it, like I mean, other than like maybe the first after the cold opening, like 15 minutes or so, it was just balls to the walls.
Yeah, it goes hard.
Yeah, and it does it well. I really have literally, and this is very rare. I have not one bad thing to say about this movie though.
Okay.
It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
was-
Dude, Evil Dead movies don't miss. They're
They can't-
all
Yeah, I was going to
good.
say, I know
So-
you hold the Evil Dead franchise with a pretty decent amount of reverence, Matt,
Yeah.
and I think, Andrew, you're pretty much the same, right? Yeah, okay.
I won't say it's like the best one. I mean, the 2013 movie that's hard to top. The original is like kind of in its own thing, and it's hard to kind of compare to the other ones because it's like it was the first one. It was made in a very different kind of idea. Like you know what I mean? It was cheaper. It's so important because without that, you don't get anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
But then the 2013 one, and don't get me wrong, I love 2 and Army of Darkness so much. But the 2013 one was so well done and so fucking brutal. So that really, I think that's like the standard for the series. And I think a lot of people agree with that. But this one fucking,
Yeah.
it held its own. It was a good story. It was fucking mean.
So I've heard that
very mean.
Yeah.
The mean movie.
I've heard that this one kind of toes the line between the tone of the 2013 reboot
Yeah.
and some of the comedy from the original trilogy. Do you guys feel like that's
Yeah.
accurate?
There was
actually-
some
yeah.
funny parts in this movie that.
Okay.
Like there was like campy parts
Okay.
too, which
All
was
right.
kind of
Yeah,
kinda
it was
cool.
pretty campy. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
some campiness.
But there was definitely like it has that really just like sinister darkness that the 2013 one had.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. There was a point to that, but pretty much just like it hits all the Evil Dead checkpoints for me.
Okay.
So
Okay. Well, it certainly seems like with the amount of money that's being made, we're probably going to get more Evil Dead movies. So I would ask you guys this without spoiling. Do you feel the need for more Evil Dead movies?
100%.
I'll take them.
I'll take them as they come. If they're going to be as good as this one,
Yeah.
and the 2013 one,
Yep.
why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I mean, that cold open in the title scene was fucking amazing.
Yeah, the
That
title card coming up
really-
it gave me. I'm like have chills thinking about it. It was fucking rad. I was
Oh,
like,
I can't-
here
I
we
can't wait to see
go.
this, yeah.
And it's a night. I think it was like maybe 100 minutes, if that. I think it might have been 97
Perfect.
minutes.
Clocked in.
In and out.
You didn't even like. I literally had to pee 15 minutes into this movie, and it was as if I didn't even need to, like it wasn't a struggle. 'cause
And you
it was
still
just so-
hammered a whole slush.
a
Those big red
whole
Slurpee.
red
Yeah.
Slurpee.
I would say, what
slush.
were you snacking on? You just
I
have
had
the
Swedish
Sour
fish
Patch
and
No.
the Slurpee or the Freezy, whatever the fuck you
Yeah.
call it. And then I had a bag of Reese's, but I couldn't get it open, and it was making too much noise, so I stopped.
There were people
Same
having
thing
conversations,
for
but
me.
your bag of Reese's would make noise.
Well, I see that's where my like I don't want to cause a disturbance, so when it's I'm like, all right, this. I don't know what those bags are made out of, but they're fucking pain. No,
Teflon.
there is no tear part. There's no tear. I was
No
trying
tear.
to tear. No, you gotta
They're
open
like
it
No
like a bag
tear.
of chips.
No
You
tear.
gotta open it like a bag of chips.
I mean, what's
Yeah.
the deal with the
Oh,
Reese's
God, then if you
bags?
did,
And it
spilled all over
goes
the place.
Reese's.
Oh.
Who are they trying to
Yeah.
keep out of
Someone has a
there?
peanut allergy. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, jeez. I mean, don't go
I
to the
wouldn't
movies
even
then, I
think of
guess.
that.
There
They
was
sell peanut M&Ms.
the trailers were okay. There was a good trailer for that Talk to Me movie.
Yeah.
That looks fucking legit.
The blackening looked funny.
The blackening looked funny. That looks good. And then that was kind of it for horror. It was like a couple Marvel. There was like
Yeah.
a fucking The Flash.
Yep.
Some other thing.
Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle looked fucking whack. The Flash didn't look bad.
Well, the Flash looks okay because you get Michael Keaton
Yeah.
playing Batman for the first time in 30 years, which
And
is
then,
pretty cool.
Oh, the new Wes Anderson movie, which that looks solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's like
So-
the new Wes Anderson movie takes place in Roswell, right? It's about
Yeah.
UFOs and shit. I'm all over that. Grand Budapest Hotel, but with UFOs.
Yeah.
So fucking.
The cast is stacked too.
Yeah. I feel like all of his movies are pretty stacked cast wise.
That was like it.
there wasn't much
it wasn't a
else.
lot. It wasn't a long wait to get into the movie.
Good.
Trailer wise. So yeah, it was nice.
Cool. I'll tell you real quick. So I know none of you guys have seen Renfield yet, but I did have the chance to watch this today. As I mentioned, you can rent it today at home for $20, which I did because this is a movie that's right up my alley. It's one that I wanted to see real bad in theaters. This and Evil Dead Rise, I was raring to see, and I really do want to see Evil Dead Rise. But I feel like I'm just an easy lay for Universal monster movies. So anything Dracula, Frankenstein, Werewolf, the Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, I
just had
I'm
such
fucking-
an awful image
yeah.
of you just being gently laid down, head to pillow by Nick Cage's Dracula.
I mean, it is a figure, a phrase, but yeah, okay. Picture what you
I
will.
Really, I just took it really, literally. Yeah.
But yeah, I like this movie. It definitely wasn't a perfect movie by any means. It's definitely got some reverence for the original, like the old school Dracula movies. I did read in Fangoria that there were some more old school Dracula things they tried to incorporate in the movie, but they had to cut them for budgetary reasons, which I think would have been really, really cool. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. This is definitely much more of a comedy. It's not scary at any point. It's very action heavy, which I thought was kind of a weird choice, but the violence is so over the top and cartoonish. Like anytime that there's any sort of a fight, Renfield or Dracula, they're just ripping people's limbs off and beating people to death with them, and there's blood splurting everywhere. And I guess Chris McKay, the director, said that he was trying to go for a different looking type of blood, almost like the type of red shade that Tom Savini used in Dawn of the Dead. So it looks
paint.
like
Yeah.
paint. It looks very
Yeah.
fake, but it's good though. And the best part, far and away, is Nicolas Cage as Dracula. But I mean, you didn't really need me to tell you that. It's just a really good performance from a really interesting actor, and he's really funny. He's actually really intimidating in it as well, and he looks the part to a T.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the outfits they pick for him kind of strike the balance from everything from old school Bela Lugosi Dracula to Gary Oldman and Bram Stoker's
It's like shit he
Dracula.
fucking wears walking a
Yeah,
go get a
yeah. I
coffee.
mean, he's wearing
He
he's
wears
wearing
that shit anyway.
he's wearing velvet suits and top hats and walking with canes, and he's got all kinds of rings. And at one point, he's wearing a bolo tie that has Nicolas Cage as Vlad the Impaler Dracula on it. It's just a fucking nuts movie. And I actually really like Nicholas Hoult as an actor too.
Yeah.
He was pretty good as Renfield. It's definitely a more of a comedy, but again, the parts with Nicolas Cage really shine. So I would recommend Renfield. I know it didn't do great at the box office, and it's surprisingly kind of got its ass kicked by The Pope's Exorcist, and it didn't really do well
Yeah, I didn't
critically.
expect
I didn't expect that either, but I would recommend checking out Renfield. I really liked it, but again, I'm kind of a mark for these types of movies.
An easy lay.
Yeah, an easy lay. And I would like to see Universal take some more chances on some different takes on some of their classic monsters, because I feel like this movie worked, and I feel like The Invisible Man that Lee Winnall did a few years ago, very different movie, very different type of movie, but they both worked, for what they were, I thought. So, apparently we're getting more of them from a bunch of different directors, so we'll see what happens there. So that's Renfield, which you can now rent.
Did you listen to Chris McKay on Colors of the Dark?
I actually have that queued up to watch probably tomorrow, and I'm driving around doing estimates.
That's a really good interview.
Yep. I didn't want to spoil it. I wanted to listen to it, but I didn't want to spoil it.
It's not very spoilery.
Okay.
But it was like I kind of like don't like those episodes that much because I'm like they kind of can get some of the people just kind of are boring. But he was very entertaining to listen to. Had a lot of insight about Nicolas Cage and how fucking awesome he is. So
yeah.
And just the horror comedy aspect. I have a lot of respect for that because that's a fucking hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like name 3 horror comedies that rock: Young Frankenstein, Shaun of the Dead, and probably fucking Renfield.
Yeah, I mean, I won't.
Dracula Dead and Lying.
Dracula. I mean, yeah, any Mel Brooks movie really. But I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie and say that this movie had me like dying laughing. Like, there were a couple funny parts where I chuckled, but it didn't have me like cackling. Right. Maybe if I rewatch it, I'll laugh a little bit more. Like the supporting cast beyond Nicholas Hoult and Nicolas Cage. I mean, I don't really get Awkwafina. She doesn't really do it for me. I haven't really seen too much else that she's been in, but she was okay in this.
Fuck's Awkwafina?
I don't know.
It's her stage name. She plays a cop, and then the guy who played John Ralphio in Parks and Rec is like a mob boss in it, which I get it's supposed to be like a caricature of a mob boss, but like him trying to play like an intimidating character, I feel like is a tough sell. But I guess he was kind of funny in it. So I don't know. Like I can see where people kind of got lost in some of the secondary storylines, but I enjoyed it for what it was. So I would recommend.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to tackle that one this weekend.
Definitely check it out for sure. Yeah, I think you'll like it. All right. Without further ado, Kat, do you want to talk about Scream 6?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Scream 6. I know, Andrew, you haven't seen this yet, and I know you don't really care
You
to.
can spoil it all you want.
And I know, Matt, you saw this in theaters.
It's
been out for a while.
I mean, you can. So Scream 6, you can now, if you have a Paramount Plus account, you can stream it on Paramount Plus for no additional charge other than the monthly subscription fee.
Been in theaters.
Yep, it's already been in theaters. Been in theaters since January, so I feel like this is spoiler territory. I feel like if you haven't seen Scream 6, you have to skip ahead a little bit. But I mean, I thought it was okay. What did you think?
I liked the end. I think it was kind of slow most of the way. I'm still getting like, it's so funny when they're saying different characters. They're like, oh, I'm Randy's like niece, or I'm so and so. Like, I'm still wondering how this woman is Billy Loomis's daughter, because I feel like that doesn't make, unless he had if he got someone else pregnant besides Sydney and had a kid like in high school that's now this age.
He had to have. I feel like
before
they
he died, like. So I and I get it. It's like movie. Okay, fine. I know. I get it. Fine. But like, there's weird connections that I'm like, would that actually work that way?
See,
like, does that actually add up with this person and associated with that like age wise and timing wise and all that? I'm like, I don't know. So that kind of bothers me.
I find that to be the biggest plot hole in the entire reboot.
Yeah, because
she's his daughter.
Billy's daughter.
I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Well, not only that, and I agree with you, by the way, because I feel like this movie is asking you to do a lot of homework about the Scream franchise. Like, they're throwing character names at you from, like, every Scream movie beforehand,
and
you're like, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Like, I have to, like, oh, okay, Wikipedia, like, okay, I get it, I know who that is.
You have to at least give each one a viewing.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to be like, what? You will get lost, and it's not going to, and you really won't fucking like it.
Yeah, like, and go ahead, sorry.
Like, blonde girls, like, when they get into that room with all the different Scream things, they're like, oh, this is this mask worn by this person in this case, and there's this and that, and whatever, and this and this and that, and whatever. And I'm like, I mean, I've seen all of them, and I'm still like,
See, I thought that was a cool idea.
It was a cool idea, but it was a lot, kind of.
So, and I mean, I guess for me, like, I think the best thing about it, by a landslide, if I wanted to say something positive about it, was how brutal the kills were. I feel like this was very violent and very gory, and there were a few kills in there that I was just like, woof, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, they really amped up the violence in this one a lot. I do think the New York City setting, I think, helped it a little bit.
I think it works, yeah.
And by far the coolest scene of the whole movie was when they're on the subway on Halloween,
Yeah.
and they have like people in there's a billion people dressed up as different characters from different horror movies.
Even like Handmaid's Tale. Like,
Yeah, which
there's, like,
I just found
obvious,
myself like, oh, there's the Babadook. Oh, there's there's people from
There's
the
Pinhead,
the
there's
Tethered
Michael
from us.
Myers,
There's Pinhead. There's
yeah.
Michael Myers.
Yeah.
There's Freddy. There's Jason Voorhees. There's
the girls from The Shining. Yeah, it was
which
like a ton
I mean,
of
again,
great.
that shouldn't be one of the strengths of the movie. I mean, it's a cool little reference if you're a hardcore horror fan. So I mean, yeah, I just feel like I'm just over the Scream franchise. I just know it's not necessarily my favorite type of movie. The first one's great. I mean, sure,
I liked the end. The end, I think, was probably the best part.
yeah. I mean,
Really?
yeah. I know Matt's been holding back here so he can unleash
Go ahead.
vitriol on this.
Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Matt. What did you think?
So I saw this in theaters when it came out. I liked the fifth one when it came out. I like what they did with it. This one, I didn't mind the New York thing. I thought that was interesting. I liked the opening scene, that whole cold open that they do. Those
Yep.
are always good.
Yep.
And then it like kind of unraveled, and like once the girl dies, that's like the cop's daughter, and
Yes.
he's just already there, and he's like over it, and he's like, all right, like on.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was like, all right, so this guy's full of shit, like something's up, and then for me, I thought the best part was when he is in the killer is in their apartment, and they're trying to get the girl to climb across the thing.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's like, but she, like, spoiler alert, no one dies. Nobody dies.
Yeah.
The only people that die are the killer, the fucking randos at the beginning, and then that girl on the thing.
Yep.
So
the quote unquote core four all survive.
yeah,
for
they
the second
get
movie in a row.
Core
stabbed
four.
like a million fucking
They
times.
do, yeah, yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then, like, while this guy's literally lit up with stab wounds, Jenna Ortega's making out with him on the gurney. I'm like,
Yeah,
get
yeah.
the
No,
fuck
yeah,
out
come
of
on,
here,
come
dude.
on,
Like,
come on.
So I was pretty, I was pretty salty
Yeah.
with how that whole all played out. So I was like, yeah, I like stormed out of the
So and
fucking son of a bitch, dude. Like,
hold on here. So, and again, spoiler alert. I feel like this is the first like real spoiler thing if you care about the original Scream movies. So was did Courtney Cox actually die?
no.
No, she's
No
still
one
alive,
died.
right?
They didn't
Nobody
show-
died.
Yeah, they didn't show
I feel like
her,
they didn't-
but
that
I
wasn't
don't
They
clear.
think
say
died.
that she's
She
okay.
still had a
Okay,
pulse
so I
at
missed
the end
that.
of the
Okay,
scene,
so I was
yeah.
going to say because I certainly
At the
thought
end
for
of the
sure she
movie,
was
they
dead.
say that she's okay.
Was she
Okay.
stabbed?
Yes,
Oh, a
bunch of
billion
times.
times.
So
Yeah.
she's been under the scalpel a billion times.
Well, that too.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I was going to say, unfortunately for Andrew, she either, I didn't know for sure, but unfortunately for Andrew, she survived this movie and will live to see another Scream movie, I'm sure. And I'm sure the next one will probably bring back Neve Campbell, who was not in this one.
Right.
Who
But
cares?
she said that she didn't want to be. There wasn't enough
No,
money.
it's not that she didn't want to be, it's that they didn't pay her what she was asking, which is a different conversation, I feel like.
Because she's in such high demand, apparently.
Well, I mean, for those movies, I guess.
Is
But
she in anything else? Like, is she ever in
No.
anything?
and also,
Not
like,
anything else.
so
don't
okay,
think-
I feel like they also kind of comment on this a little bit. Like, okay, so the girl that plays the girl from Yellow Jackets, yeah. So Taisha from Yellow
It's
Jackets.
like, her name's like Jasmine Savoy.
Yes,
Boy or
Jasmine
something.
Savoy Brown. Yes,
Yes,
so
yeah.
she is one of the core four in this.
I like her a lot.
And I'm sorry, when she's trying to do the Stu Macher thing from the first one and they're talking about the meta sequels and legacy sequels, I was just like, okay, like I get what you're doing here.
She's being a know-it-all for
I'm
horror movie stuff.
over it. Yeah,
she's the
like
new Randy because she's Randy's niece. Get
I
it?
know, and that like how does that work?
I
Again,
know.
because movie like I don't know, I feel like they're really reaching for a lot of the continuity stuff, which I mean it shouldn't be a whole plot point. Continuity stuff should be in the background, like cool stuff for fans. I guess I just don't understand, and I don't necessarily agree with everything, or I say most things that critics say about a lot of certain movies that come out, and I just don't understand the crazed, manic, over-the-top praise for this movie.
Oh, did it really
or
get
the loud.
a lot
Oh,
of praise?
yeah, absolutely. This also made a fucking $1 billion at the box office. People just love Scream movies,
Yeah.
and I just don't.
Well,
I
they're
don't know.
corny. They're like funny. I don't know. They're not meant to be like.
Well, you can be corny and funny and still like be good. Like I would
Yeah.
say, look at the Evil Dead movies, like the original trilogy. You know, I mean,
Let's get crazy.
I don't know.
Compare that to Scream.
no. Listen. I'm not saying that.
See,
Listen,
Let's not get crazy.
critical offense.
I think you missed the point of what I
No,
was
I
trying
know
to
what
say.
you
Is
meant,
that
yeah.
yes? So I'm not comparing them either.
I just don't like hearing the two in the same
No,
sentence.
I understand, but my point is that you don't have to take yourself super fucking serious like a movie like Hereditary for it to be a good horror movie. You can have a good balance of horror and comedy. It's been done plenty of times. So, I don't know. So I guess Kat. So I know you're the big Scream fan here. So where would this fall? Like you don't have to rank them all for me.
I don't want to do rankings. I hate
Top 3, bottom 3.
Yeah.
Of what?
Of this whole Scream
the
franchise.
Oh, I'm like of 2023. I
No,
don't
of
fucking
this,
know.
what is there, 6? So yes, there you go, even
6?
numbers. One through
No,
3.
I don't count them in like the original Screams. I like the original.
You like so all 4 of the original ones.
Yeah,
better. Okay.
these new ones they're fine, but the originals are way better than these.
Okay.
Way better.
Yeah, I think I like this one slightly better than the last one because I feel like at least they tried to do some different things.
I think
So I'll give them points for that.
the last one was
And
more
for the gore.
corny. Way cornier than this one, I think.
The first one did the thing that legacy sequels do. It's essentially the first movie again with new characters and 2 of the older
I
characters from the
thought
first
that
movie.
that one was good.
Yeah, I don't think I actually hated that movie.
I would
think
say
recall-
mine 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, 6. 6. I think this last one's the worst one.
Okay.
And 3 is a fucking. That movie's a fucking poop salad pizza sandwich.
3?
Dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Scream 3 when her brother is the kill. Really?
Oh, that movie's dog.
I would say which one's
don't think I've
which
seen
one's
Her
the one
brother's the killer.
which one's the one with Timothy Olyphant as the killer?
The second
The
one.
second
That's
one.
2. Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
would say. All right.
I don't even know if I saw that one.
That movie's
Yeah.
fucking great.
That's
That
a
is
good-
great
that's actually a
scene.
good
And it's
one.
like his mom's one of them.
Yeah,
too.
that cold open with her at the
Billy
stab
Loomis's
movie.
mom.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's really good. So like, yeah, I mean,
Sarah
because-
Michelle Gellar's sorority.
Yes.
house.
Yeah. Lest we forget, those movies were still being directed by Wes fucking Craven
Yeah,
at that point.
I mean-
Why
So-
they're the top 2.
yeah, exactly. So, anyway, so Scream 6, yeah, you can now watch that on Paramount Plus.
6 is good.
All right, 6 is good.
Mom.
6 is good. You like 6?
6 is good.
Anyone else have anything noteworthy on watch list stuff? Catherine? No? Andrew?
Negative.
Matthew?
I watched a couple things. I watched
Sure.
Don't Look Now, which is a I think 1972 or 1973 movie with Donald Sutherland and I forget the actress's name, but tragic movie. At the beginning, it takes place. Their daughter drowns, and so the husband and wife they go and take a vacation in Italy. And meanwhile, while they're there, there's someone that tells her. It's a blind woman while the mom's in the bathroom tells her that she was like a psychic and could see her daughter sitting between her and Donald Sutherland and that she's with them laughing, blah, blah, blah. And from there, they kind of like are kind of thrown off by that. And then there's someone that's kind of running around in Italy wearing this like red raincoat that the daughter wore when she drowned. But at the same time, there keeps being these like really gruesome murders going on. I'll end it there because it's. I mean, you've seen the 100 scariest movie moments. You kind of know.
Yep, I was saying, I remember that title.
Great movie, fucking great movie, dude. It is very, very, very well done. If you haven't watched it, you should check it out.
Okay.
Because you'll like it.
Where'd
Andrew, you'll probably like it too.
Where'd you find it?
I own it.
Oh, okay.
But that was really good. And then I might have one more. That might have been it though. Yeah, maybe that was it. So yeah, just that was my new watch. I hadn't seen that movie before, so I finally got around to watching it.
Okay.
So that was.
That made me think of like, they make like board game movies after board games like Clue and
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yep.
They should make a horror movie. Don't Wake Daddy.
Don't wake Daddy.
Wake Daddy. Daddy's hungover. Now he's gonna kill you. You woke up, Daddy.
A random thought. That actually would be a pretty funny movie.
funny.
That would actually be pretty good. I feel like there's probably been movies quite that have been like that without the title over the years. But
We'll make
yeah.
Don't Wake Daddy and
Don't
Life
Wake
Sucks
Daddy.
Dan.
Yeah. Don't Wake Daddy.
Oh God! All right, guys. Anything else before we jump into this awesome topic for tonight?
No.
Nay?
Nope.
All right, cool. Why don't we take a
Negative.
quick 90-second break here for a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
It's official. The critics' decision is in.
Spooky World is spooktacular.
Enter the new black hole.
If you dare.
Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's America's horror theme park, Spooky World. Don't be scared. I'm the super sweet monster with the super sweet new cereal, Count Chocula.
Biffle, here's the super sweet new cereal, Frankenberry.
But I've got chocolate sweeties for monstrous chocolate flavor.
Well, I've got berry-flavored sweeties for monster strawberry flavor.
Count Chocula.
Frankenberry.
Hi.
Frankenberry.
Count Chocula. Sleepy Clovers.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's a killer this year. Then right next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
And we're back. Guys, let me ask you a question. You ever been to a haunted house in April before? Before this past weekend?
No.
Nope. That's a no from me,
I don't
dog.
believe so.
Matthew?
No, I have not.
Well, we had the opportunity to do just that because on Friday evening, the four of us, or I should say the five of us, we were joined by another one of our friends, took a drive up to Fright Kingdom in Nashua, New Hampshire. This was my second trip up there. Kat, your second trip there as well, right? Andrew, technically your second trip there as well.
On paper.
On paper. And Matt, your first trip, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, again, definitely not something you see every day for a haunted house in April, but it's fucking awesome. And I had a great time. I think we all had a pretty good time, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, this was easily one of the best times I've ever had at a haunted house.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking blast.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was,
you had
it
a
was so
really
much
good
fun.
time last time.
I had a really good time last time, too. But
Leading
this-
up to it. Leading up
This
to
time
it.
was way better.
Yeah, so I mean, this unfortunately, if you're listening to, whenever you're listening to this, this event has already come and passed by because it was only for 2 nights for to celebrate the halfway to Halloween season. But you do have multiple opportunities to check out Fright Kingdom throughout the year, not just during Halloween season. But if you've never heard of Fright Kingdom, okay, it's New England's largest indoor horror attraction that features 5 different haunted houses of pure terrifying entertainment. And guys, I'll say the fact that first of all, the reason they were able to do this throughout the year is solely because the whole thing's inside. That's obviously a huge factor with the weather here in New England, which I just feel like makes it that much cooler. And I feel like the indoor environment here really works to its advantage. But basically, the 5 attractions, from what I had written here, so there's one called Z Apocalypse, which is zombie-themed. There's one called The Abandoned. There's one called Bloodmare Manor. There's one called Psycho Circus, which is a 3D one. And then, I'm not sure if, let me see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So, I don't know the title of it, but the Total Darkness Area, Blackout Room, that was another one, which
I think that was the
sure
Bloodmare
we'll get to.
Manor.
No, Bloodmare Manor was the one with
That was
the
at
dolls.
end.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. And then also, you go outside before and after, and they have a monster midway with, they have food trucks, and they have merchandise that you can buy. There's all kinds of entertainment from the moment you get in line until the moment you exit into the parking lot. It really is a one-of-a-kind experience. And I said this the last time that we did an episode on this when we were talking about the Fright Before Christmas, I believe it was called, the Frightmare Before Christmas. This might be my leader in the clubhouse for my favorite haunted attraction in New England right now. It's so well done. But I don't know, check back with me later, but that's just how I feel about Fright Kingdom. And I would also argue, aside from those 5 haunted houses in the Midway, that the experience of waiting in line and getting into all the attractions is kind of like an attraction in and of itself.
You don't even feel
The
like you're
whole
waiting.
setup is so
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
cool.
they
It's
do it
awesome.
perfect.
It's
Like
a-
the little
it's-
museum at the beginning's amazing.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. I wasn't expecting that, so there was obviously they had each little kind of window of each. So many different horror movies, and I fucking loved it. I was all in.
I mean, if you're a horror film fan or a fan of Halloween, you have to see it. It's so cool, everything that they have. I mean, there's all sorts of photo opportunities, from Christmas themed stuff to Valentine's Day themed stuff to Freddy to Jason to Michael Myers and Andrew. They had a ton of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch stuff.
Yeah, that was sick.
A ton. There's
I got
so
a nice
much.
little photo with that.
You did. You can find
was
that on
looking like
our
a stud as always.
Instagram page. They had like wax figures of Jack Torrance from The Shining, Samara from The Ring, Pennywise, all sorts of masks and
Careful too, 'cause
posters.
some of them are real.
Some of them
Michael Myers
are real.
We both were standing there. We were like, "Whoa!"
Yep. Okay. So that was, I think, we all. They got all of us at varying points throughout the night.
Oh, I got scared about 8 times.
That was
fucking impressive.
That was. I think you guys were ahead of me, and he moved before I got up there. But I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
And I was snapping pictures of all 3 of them, and I was waiting for the other 2 to move, and they didn't. It was just Michael Myers. But then you walking through this little horror museum. They have that animatronic band that's up there playing
That
music,
band
which was
sick.
cool.
It was like the Country Bears, but
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
with corpses.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's just, it reminds me a lot of, like, old school Spooky World in Berlin. Like, where waiting in line, or, like, really any of the good, like, theme parks where waiting in line is not meant to really feel like you're waiting in line for something, right? It's meant to keep you entertained the entire time, and I feel like they do a great job of that. So, and obviously, like, when you walk in there, it's really not even part of the line, because you can take as much time as you want in that little queue area and take pictures and do whatever, and whenever you're ready to get in line for the first haunted house, you can just go do it. So I think that just sets the tone for the whole experience. It just puts you in the mood. It's a lot of fun. And then, from there, you kind of just run through all 5 of the haunted houses, and you're in there for, it took us probably an hour to walk through everything, right? It's definitely a night. I mean, I think you're hard pressed to find a better experience for $35 for that. I mean, that's you get a lot for that ticket. So, I was going to say, so in addition, I mentioned this, but in addition to Halloween season and halfway to Halloween, you can also go to Fright Kingdom for a Valentine's Day haunt, which they call Be Mine Forever, and then they also have the Fright Before Christmas, which we attended back in 2021.
Are they always like multiple houses?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they re-theme everything. Well, so I've never been for Halloween or the Valentine's Day one. I've only been to this and Christmas. And the Christmas, I mean, it's not slightly re-themed to Christmas. It is completely almost re-themed. All the characters, all the actors, like, it's really cool. The Christmas one, especially if you like Christmas horror, I would say you can go to this attraction multiple times per year and get a different experience every time you go.
It must take so much work to do those.
It's an incredible amount of work. I mean, I feel like they must never stop.
Yeah.
Because now they're in full force working on the Halloween haunt. Halloween season's up next. After that, when Halloween season ends, they're probably working immediately on the Christmas themed haunt. And when that ends, they're working on the Valentine's Day themed haunt.
But they don't have. I was like,
no, right?
Christmas and Valentine's is not that long of a time.
I know. Neither is between Halloween and Christmas either.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a lot of work.
And that's probably why they don't have anything between Halloween.
Halloween.
That's their big
They need
season,
their
right?
time to do that. Yeah.
Like, obviously,
and they're doing that for, I imagine, at least a month straight.
Yeah.
Gotta be. I mean, that place must fucking bang out.
We gotta
every
go
night.
there this
Like,
Halloween.
I would love to. I would love to. 100%. I know we talked about this after the fact, but there's definitely a few other haunted attractions that we got to hit up in New Hampshire too, which we'll get to that more later. But last but not least here, I feel like I have to mention that Fright Kingdom is kind of a little mini celebrity because it was featured in the 2020 Netflix film Hubie Halloween. There's also a little section devoted to that. Right when you first walk into the little museum, you get a little standee of Adam Sandler and some of the props and sets
I didn't realize
that they used.
How small he was.
I don't know if that's actually life size, but I see what you're saying. I guess what they did was, so it wasn't shot on location at Fright Kingdom, but they actually, like, some of the sets from there were disassembled, moved to Massachusetts, reassembled, and then they were filmed there. So I think if you can actually see Adam Sandler and Ray Liotta walking through some of the sets that you walk through in this haunted house when you're doing the whole thing, which is really fucking cool.
I wish Ray Liotta didn't die, dude.
I know.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I loved him. That's why that's why I feel like I enjoyed Cocaine Bear at the time more than I probably actually should have.
He was good in Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, he was pretty good, and it's always good to see Ray Liotta. So
every time, it's just like I could watch Goodfellas every single day.
Oh, I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the point of all this is me saying that I feel like I can't get enough of this attraction. It's so much fun, and I feel like the fact that you can just do it different times throughout the year adds a whole different element to the experience. So, I'll stop running my yap. Matt, I know this was your first time here. What did you think of the overall experience? Because I think you were a little surprised at how much fun you had. And,
I had a great time.
Yeah.
I was also kind of like stressed. I was like, because I get like when I go to things like this, I kind of like I just let it happen. Like I don't try to like be like the fucking like, I'm like I let myself get scared, and you know what I mean, because they're good at it.
That's the point, right?
And the first house we went through, the zombie one, was definitely like the lowest tier in terms of like how intense they get.
They gotta build you up.
Yeah, and like that one was good, and I was like, all right, this is cool. And then we went. I think it was this. Was it the second one that had the doll? Which one had the dolls?
So I believe the order is it's the zombie one first, followed by the Abandoned. I'm not sure which one that was. I think the next one was Bloodmare Manor, which was your traditional, like, almost Gothic style haunted house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that was the one with the dolls. And when I remember walking into one set where it looks like you're in a huge house with, like, a second floor and a staircase. And there's that one scare where they lifted up the stairs on the staircase and somebody jumped out of that. That got me. That was a great fucking scare.
Because, like, it wasn't like, when I went through that one, it wasn't like a jump scare, but you go into this room and there's all these giant dolls. Like dolls, like back when you were a little kid that had, like, the blinky eyes.
Yeah.
But then some of them were people that had these, like, big, like, helmet things on that were the dolls that were, like, reaching out for you. So I was like, whoa, dude, because that shit scared the fuck out of me when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So that, I remember, like, seeing that, and I was like, this is not fucking cool.
Nope.
We got through that, and then you get into that, like, strobe light room with the, like, streamers hanging down.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, this is, like, I feel like I'm in, like, a Gaspar Noé movie right now. I was like, and so that was intense. That was actually, like I said, it wasn't jump scare, but I was like, I got out of here.
Yep.
The clown one was crazy.
Yeah, the
so
3D one.
This was the 3D one, and this is where we kind of like alternated our like line position, because the first house we went through, I was in the very back. And that fucking sucked. I was like, I don't want to be in the back anymore. I actually liked being in the front better.
Well, I feel like they always try to scare the people in the back because
they let
you go through. Like, they're not going to scare the person first.
Like, if you're in the middle, you're like the safe. You're in the safe spot. But I was in the back for the first one, and they kept fucking with me, and I was like, get off me. You know? But I was first for the clown one because it had to have the 3D glasses, and everyone else has apparently fucking got cataracts. So I was like, all right, like, that was like your excuse. You were like, oh, I wear glasses.
Well, it was like a pain in the ass wearing those over my glasses.
I didn't even put them on. I just held them in front of my face, but I couldn't fucking see what was going on.
Yeah.
And like, so it felt like, because the way it was lit up, it was like black light, but with all the lights on.
Yeah.
So, and it felt like when I had them on that I was like a foot behind where I actually was. So I was like, I'm like walking into shit. And this is the one that I got on, because I was like kind of cruising through it. Like, I was like, all right, we'll get through it. It was all clowns. Clowns don't really bother me, but it's just like kind of determining which ones are people and not people. Because it's kind of hard to do, because they do a really good job with the mannequins and shit.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I kind of was, like, peering around. I felt like Mr. Bean, like, the way I was, like, walking around. And I remember at one point, I, like, was like, all right, we're clear. And the girl popped out of the wall.
Yeah.
And got me, and I jumped back big time. And then, like, the end of that had this, like, bridge.
Oh, yeah.
With, like, a spinning, rotating room.
That was getting sick.
That was fucked up. And, like, because we went out before, like, we had dinner and stuff and, like, a few beers. And I'm like, thank God, like, I'm not, like, trashed. Because I would be, like, I wouldn't be able to get out of here. I'd be like, you know what I mean? So I'd be, like, hanging on to the thing.
Yeah.
So, but I got through that. And then I remember at the end, there was, like, this, like, tiny little clown girl. And she, like, held out a bucket. And I was like, what is that? Like, and, like, she was like, it's for your glasses.
For your glasses.
I was like, oh. And she's just this, like, adorable little clown. And I was like, you're so sweet. Thank you. And she was like, you're welcome. But I liked that one probably the best.
Okay.
And then there was the fucking worst experience of my goddamn life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'll
My
wait and
God.
let you guys go, and then we can all kind of hop in on that. Because did you guys get shocked?
I did. Yep.
Okay.
That actually was the part that got me because we can get to it.
Yeah.
But that was I was not doing all right.
I
at
didn't
certain
sign up
points
for
during
that.
Nope. I had no idea it was coming.
It's New Hampshire. Live free or die.
Yeah, right. So, and I feel like
Unless you want to smoke weed.
so I feel like
Then you just die.
Yeah.
I don't remember that part when we went for Christmas in 2021.
Because it probably wasn't there.
I don't think it was. So I think that part is relatively new because it wouldn't have worked for all of us. I don't think.
Not a chance. I mean, I
so-
probably would have been fine in that one.
Yeah.
I'm like a fucking bat.
So yeah,
so
we'll
just-
we'll get to
what
that.
it looked like for you, for all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Cat.
I could just imagine being like, flailing around.
Knocking it over. Yeah.
All right, Catherine, your thoughts on Fright Kingdom's Halfway to Halloween?
Oh, the dark room. I mean,
Well, everything in general.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, what did you think of the whole
I loved
experience?
it. I thought it was great. 2 thumbs way up.
Right on. Andrew?
No, I thought it was yeah, I know, right? No, it's awesome. It's nice going to a haunted attraction in April. Because I feel like in October you're shooting so many things that like it was nice to do.
And it's like,
own
yeah,
thing.
you're like, there's going to be a million fucking, which there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, you're like, all right, like, this is going to be a shit show.
Right,
Like,
but now you know why they sell tickets for certain time slots.
Yeah,
If
no, that
everyone
was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if everyone went at the same time, you'd be there forever waiting in line. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. I was happy that I didn't have to drag Andrew through it. Yeah. So that was a plus.
Glad
And
I
I got
could
to
have
enjoy
lied.
it myself. Yeah, I think I liked the guy at it was the last house, and he jumped from wherever. He was right in front of us.
Oh yeah. That was
And I was
yeah.
like, where the hell did that guy come from? And he like literally jumped from like a ledge or something, like behind a room.
The
like,
last one was like the Children of the Corn one, right?
Yes. So that might have been the abandoned.
Oh, because there was that cage thing with all the.
I don't
the
think
zombies
they're
that were
listing the dark.
Yeah.
Open this pit
I don't think the lights out one is listed
Okay,
as
so
a thing.
you might be right because I went to the website. The website literally just has Halfway to Halloween, buy tickets here, and usually the website when it's like full throttle season, they have a list of all the attractions, and I'm going off what my list was when we did Christmas 2021. So they've probably updated some things. So if the names are out of date, Fright Kingdom, I apologize. I will make sure I go back and correct myself. But yeah, that was a good scare. That one got me, the jumping guy,
the
because
jumping guy was
so
like,
we've seen last year. We did actually. You didn't go through, but there were bungee jump scares at Barrett's last year in the outdoor attraction. Those are always good because you never expect them to get as close as they actually do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that guy was on a bungee or not, but
I don't think he was.
I think he just jumped.
Yeah.
Which I was just like, oh shit.
Because I was
okay.
looking, like I feel like I looked back and being like, where's the bungee? I'm like, I don't see a bungee for the guy.
Yeah.
Because you'd see something in the ceiling, and there was
Yeah.
nothing. And I was like,
Okay.
did he really? Maybe he swung from? I don't
Maybe.
know.
I have no idea.
It was weird, but I was like, oh.
Did you have a favorite of all the certain little sections that we walked through? A favorite attraction, if you will?
I guess the one that scared me the most was dark, because I'm terrified of the way.
So that was your favorite one, the one that terrified you the most?
Yeah.
I that's in terms of, I'll never forget that.
Never.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
yeah,
Never. Okay.
Especially
All right.
the part where you're like squeezing through this fucking like.
The claustrophobia thing. See, that doesn't bother me.
That didn't bother me either, but it was just like, get me out of this. It
Yeah.
felt like Nope when they're getting eaten by the alien.
was like-
just getting squeezed.
It was like
Yeah.
50 yards of.
Dude, it was
Oh,
a
yeah,
long
it
time.
was long.
I was like,
Yeah.
come on, okay, are we
Yeah.
through this yet? Let me get
Yeah.
through this.
So yeah, let's talk about the darkest one for right now, since we're all kind of alluding to it here. I think it got me so much because I wasn't expecting it, and when I heard what he was saying,
beginning,
I was the last one.
I didn't
for
even
that
hear
one.
him, and I was the first guy.
I was the last one, and I was like immediately I was terrified because there were a few times when I think we were all like holding on to the back of each other to like guide ourselves through, and there were a couple of times I think either of you two were in front of me,
Yeah.
I lost you guys for a good chunk, and I was just absolutely totally panicked, freaking the fuck out. I'm claustrophobic, so that the airbag scene freak me the fuck out. They have one of those at
Went
Spooky
through one
World.
of the wrong doors.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was
I
going to
wasn't
say.
going out like
They have
Like,
those
no,
inflatable
sir.
bags. They had an inflatable bag scare at Spooky World in one of their attractions. I hated it then. I still hate it now because I don't like small enclosed spaces. But yeah, and then they say any way to find your way out of a maze is put your hand on the wall and leave it on there the whole time you walk around. You'll eventually find yourself out. The problem with doing that in this little section is they have little things that buzz to simulate an electric shock. Now, you're not actually getting electric shock.
On the walls?
Yep, because I got it.
Oh.
That didn't happen
I got
to me
it
at
2
all.
or 3
didn't touch-
times.
Yeah.
I also didn't touch
And
the
each
walls.
time, I freaked the fuck out. Each time.
Well,
And
because
then-
you put it in my mind. You were like, oh, he's like, you're gonna touch something that's gonna be slimy, and I was like, ugh,
Well,
no,
no,
I don't want to do that.
Kat was saying that
That was
because
from when we went to Blackout Night at Barrett.
yeah, we did the Darkness Unleashed at Barrett's one year, and Kat was like, "Oh, they licked one of my friend's face." So I was
No, it
like,
was my
"No, they
face.
didn't." Or Kat's
Nobody's
face.
licking your
no,
They
there
probably
was
had like a wet
sponge,
sponge,
wet
and they were just like
noodle.
poking you in the
Just a
face with
wet
it. So
Yeah.
cool noodle.
yeah, but so
Brett.
I just thought it was interesting because and I'm not complaining about it, believe me, but like Barrett's for the Darkness Unleashed thing, you have to sign a waiver, and like basically they can
Right.
they can
But
mess
there
with
was
you
people
and they
in
can knock
there.
your hat off and
There was-
stuff.
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
And
There was nobody
No,
in
there was
there.
no one in there.
As soon as I realized that there wasn't anybody in there, I was like, "This."
There
is
was, because I almost walked out the wrong spot, and the guy got in my face, and he's like,
Well,
you're going the wrong
they
way.
probably
Yeah.
keep them at the
Yeah.
exits just in case, because that probably
Yeah.
happens.
Well, they missed
Well,
that.
so I at least from having my hand on the wall, I pushed open an employee access door one time, and I went the complete wrong way. And I think I was with you and Christina.
you were with me, and
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So it was us three, and they
Oh,
were
no,
like, "Oh no,
I was
no,
hightailing
back
out of
way,"
that
and I was
place.
like,
I left you guys.
I thought we were.
Well, that's
done.
the thing, because I went in first.
Yeah,
and
but then you went out the exit door and I passed.
Yeah, I went the wrong way, and you bypassed me,
was
and then I didn't know where you were.
Yeah.
So then I was like, "Fuck!" Like, and so because then you ended up in the front, so I had to grab onto Mike's coat. You
Yeah.
were grabbing onto me.
Yeah.
And like we kept getting fucking shocked trying to touch
Yeah.
a goddamn wall, and then you were finally like, you were like,
Look
look
up
at the
at the
ceiling.
ceiling.
Like,
That's
you can
actually a
see
good-
It was
up-
light
You can see
above,
light
yeah.
above like the thing.
Yeah.
Once I figured that out, I was like, okay, my pulse wasn't racing quite as hard, so I was like, okay, like this.
When I first walked in, and the guy was like, "It's gonna be dark," I was like, "All right, yeah, that's fine." And I figured it was gonna be like pretty dark.
It
and,
was
like, there
dark.
And they closed the
Yeah.
door, and I stopped. I was like,
Whoa.
Yo, I was like, I can't fucking see anything.
Yeah.
It's fucking
I
pitch
couldn't
black.
see my hand in
I
front of my
immediately
face.
when we walked in there, I was like, "Oh, poor Kat," because I know how much you hate the dark, and I was
really
just
hate the
like,
dark.
"Oh no!" I was like, "This is," and I was like, "How long?" I was like, "This probably won't be that long."
Oh, I was
It was
so-
long. It
Thank-
took us a good 10 minutes to walk through the
Yeah.
whole thing, and I was just like, "Oh my god, get me out of here!"
Thank God Sarah didn't
Yeah.
come to that, because she would have been.
I'm leaving. I'm going
wrecked,
backwards.
dude.
Then we spill out and fucking clowns, and I
Yes.
hate clowns.
No, that was
Yeah.
before.
It
The
was
clown
the,
was
yeah.
before.
We got
Are
out.
you
That
sure?
was
The
the
3D
second
one?
to last one. And
Yeah.
then we got out, and it was like
It was
the
that
cornfield.
manor.
maybe I'm
one.
just
No,
misremembering.
yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what? I think you're right, but okay.
Yeah, we got out with this
Yeah.
huge animatronics.
The clown was the
waiting
third
line.
one.
Either way, clowns, then total darkness,
Yeah.
claustrophobia, shocking, and everything else. Like, no thanks. And yeah, what did I say? Did I say claustrophobia? Well, yeah, claustrophobia. Again! Oh my god. So yeah, that was a curveball that was thrown our way, but I mean, it was definitely fun. I mean, the whole reason you go to these things is because you want to be scared in a way that you know you're not actually going to be harmed or injured. So
Right.
you do end up laughing about it at the end. But when you're in the middle of it, a little tough to laugh, I will have to say. Andrew, what were your thoughts overall on Fright Kingdom, my friend?
Oh, it was a fucking absolute blast. I mean, it's hard for me to remember exactly anything in particular because I feel like when I'm in those, it's like you can either take it all in and get the shit scared out of you because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, look at that. And then, you're like, fuck, this person scared the shit out of me. Or you're just like boogieing through.
Yeah.
So I was kind of trying to do a little bit of both.
Yeah.
There was one scene, I forget what room it was in. I think it was the
You
abandoned-
got.
I got
early.
got early.
You did.
and often.
I was actually
Yeah.
surprised.
I
Yeah.
got a lot because there was also one room where you're walking through this hall, and to the left there was like these glass.
You just kept going. You kept going. Jesus.
Yeah, I hate getting scared of
Speaking
horrors.
of which, I thought it was funny that before we went in there, Matt was like, I hope there's not a no swearing rule. I was like, oh, we would all get
Yeah.
kicked out.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I feel like everyone's swearing.
That's
if
all
they're
I
getting
did. I was
jump
like,
scares.
But they also, when they let you in, like, each house, like, they kind of wait to, like, let people
Other
go
people
before
get
you.
it.
So
Oh,
you're not,
oh, yeah.
There's not people.
Well, that's the
in
thing with
front.
the
Well, dude,
dark
there's
room,
one.
too.
There's people right on my
behind
ass,
us,
dude.
yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ!
Like,
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the dark room,
Yeah.
like when I took the lead and I had Christina in tow and I was doing my fucking sonar bat wall off thing and just boogieing through, we like caught up
yeah,
to the
you
people in
you
front
channeled
of me.
something that
Yeah.
I think the rest of us don't have.
Well, I used my arm. If you use one arm like a
Sheer
blind person
abject
uses
terror.
their stick.
So just
to
like
see,
this?
You just go like this. I was literally just going like this. I'm like, if anybody's in here, they're gonna get whacked in the face. 'Cause they're just going meh, and I just fucking was flying through because we caught up to the people in front of us. I'm like, I think there's people in front of us. They're like, yeah, they're here. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to smash into you running through this dark room.
Well, that was the other thing too, because I was like behind you guys, and I didn't want to walk directly.
Yeah,
into
'cause you
Christina.
don't know.
And I was in the
It was
same thing. I was
there.
putting my hands out like this. I was like, I don't want to. Like,
yeah, I was like, if
push
someone's
her
here,
over.
they're getting
Yeah.
whacked.
Well, I feel like it's part of the reason they have very few, if
Spacing.
any, actors in there because I feel like they know
Dude, they would
people
get-
are
they
like
would get
poking
knocked
the
out.
eye,
They would
punch in the
get their
Dude,
face.
if I touch them, and you just punch them in the face with it.
That was my immediate thought. I'm like, dude, if anyone touches me, I'm gonna fucking swing at them.
Yeah.
Please don't
Fuck away
start
from
with
me.
me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you touch the wall and it'll be like
Yeah.
fuzzy, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
It's just like by reaction. It just
Yeah, it's just being in the pitch dark. You're
You
like,
see
I don't
it? How do you see?
fucking know.
You have goggles? Give me those.
Might as well just close your eyes.
Yeah.
Like,
So safe to say you were impressed with the whole experience.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was one that got me in particular. It was so it was like these glass cases on the side, and there was actors in there, but
oh,
I like
remember
looked
that.
and I
yeah.
looked and I'm like, is that real or not? And then they just fucking went right about it, smash them. And there's like bullets shooting in the background. I was like, oh, fucking Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, the first one had like guns and shit.
Yeah, that was,
That was
there was some loud
So-
noises in this place.
I have to say, you mentioned there's two type of people running through these things. One that are just trying to like not get scared, but I am trying to like look at everything and take everything in. And the sets are so impressive.
They're
everywhere.
They're movie level.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're
fucking-
phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Like even just the zombie one, the first one you go through. Even just like when you're walking through that, they have like the tower with like the machine gun on top. It looks
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
something out of like The Walking Dead. Like it really does.
I love the whole lab with like the people on like
Yes.
the gurneys and shit.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
The animatronics were cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a
that
whole
big-
other thing.
Animatronics were
big
Oh, the
phenomenal.
big
monster.
beast!
Yeah.
I love the demon
And the
girl
demon
at the
girl.
end.
That was
Yeah,
cool.
she was sick,
That was
yeah.
really cool. The three clowns standing on top of each other. That was a really cool one
That was
too.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really impressive, and there's a lot to look at, which I feel like
Makes
that
you
is the
scared.
that's the art of the scare right there. Is
Yeah.
make you look in one direction at something really cool, and then bam, they get you from the other side.
See,
you
that's
know?
why
Like,
I'm usually pretty good getting through haunted houses, not getting scared too often, because I'm usually like
Yeah.
I'm trying to get through as fast, and my main thing is I'm trying to figure out which person mannequin is the real person,
Yeah.
and they do a phenomenal job.
That's what I was saying.
Not,
Like,
you
dude,
don't know because
I had a hard
you're not
time
real.
trying to- yeah. But then they open up a whole fucking wall.
Yeah.
Someone comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Scares the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they got me like the end of the entire thing too.
Mm.
It was like rapid fire, like 5 seconds before the exit. 2 people fucking
Oh,
straight.
yeah.
I was like, God, fuck.
they want to get you. They want to get you as many
Like, I
times
was
as you
like,
can
shit.
right before you.
You got good when we were like walking out of the parking lot.
Oh yeah.
oh, by the
we were-
little the kid. That
when
was
we
a,
were
there was a,
walking
there was a
with
carriage.
the
Yes, that was a
Oh,
child.
There was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Oh
she
my
threw the
God.
carriage.
Yes, she threw the carriage.
I thought
I
Mike
was
gonna
behind
roll
you
his
and I was
ankle
like
or
watching
something.
that just unfold, and
They're
I
probably
was
like,
like,
Just
they're
takes
like,
out his
hey,
knee.
Hey, go scare and throw the carriage at these annoying podcasters. Go do that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
his
funny.
kneecap.
That cracked me up. But I think my favorite parts. So Bloodmare Manor, the traditional haunted house style one, and then whatever the last one was that was with the cornfields that was kind of more traditional Halloween themed.
Yeah.
I was thinking specifically
with the pumpkins.
with the you're walking through the hallway, you're surrounded by jack-o'-lanterns.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that. Dare I say, an
Yeah.
easy lay for old school Halloween design stuff. Just
we go.
what an unbelievable! Just like walking through, I'm like, God, I love Halloween. I miss Halloween
Yeah.
so much. That was so cool. I took a great picture of you walking through all those pumpkins. That was actually really cool. I don't think I was supposed to take a picture at that time, but sorry guys, don't cancel me. Anyway, yeah, it's just it's really cool to look at, and you can just tell the effort and everything that goes into it all the time. I mean, this must take an astronomical amount of work to put together and maintain.
well, it's just like I imagine there's like a board, like a whole group, like, they get together with meetings and they just basically throw out ideas.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, that's the thing, like, I have so many questions of, like, how they, like, their concepts.
I would love to sit in one of their meetings.
Yeah, just be like a fly on the wall, be sick.
Yeah.
So.
Well, one thing I will say, too, so I wanted to mention this at the top of the show, but I forgot to write it down. So there is, so there's a couple, if you're familiar with the haunt industry, the Transworld convention is the biggest convention for the haunted attraction industry. It's basically a trade show for everyone in the haunt industry. You can go there and basically you can buy props and animatronics and masks and makeup and all kinds of stuff. It's all devoted to that. So that, Transworld and Netherworld, which is consistently one of the best haunted houses in the entire country. I believe it's in Georgia. Each year they select certain haunted attractions in a region to be part of their Legendary Haunt Tour. This year, it's based in Salem, the program. It's Barrett's, Fright Kingdom, Haunted Overload being recognized. Those 3 attractions being recognized as part of the Legendary Haunt Tour, which I feel like is a huge, huge accomplishment for all 3 of those attractions. It's awesome to see that this area of the country being recognized for excellence in haunted attractions. So congratulations to all 3 of those. Pretty cool, if I do say so myself. Cool. Yeah, so I'm just looking at this here now. So basically, so it takes place like actually after the haunt season is probably over for most of these attractions. It's November 10th and 11th, and I guess you can go on like a group tour, like you pay to go on a group tour of all 3 of the attractions, and they take you around and do it. If I'm without reading all of this in detail and just going off what I'm seeing here very quickly, it sounds like that's what the case is. So pretty cool for those haunts. But yeah. I forget what I was saying before that, but I mean, just so much fun. I feel like I haven't stopped thinking about it like since we left. It's just like everyone like, oh, that was really cool too. That was fun.
I was talking about it at work, and I was telling people about the Dark House, and like guys are like, damn, like do you have to like sign a waiver for that? I was like, no,
nope.
No, they just throw you in.
There you go.
Like have fun.
It's dark,
which I respect that because fuck yourself. You're getting scared. We're scaring you today.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think you'd have to be an ultimate hardo or a liar if you would walk through that whole thing and say that you didn't get scared at least once.
I gotta say though, the dark, that was my least scariest room because once I figured it out, I was like, "That's."
So the dark one didn't have the sliding floors at the end, did it?
No, I think that did, which made it even more fun. No,
one of them parts of it that like
the floor was moving. Random, I'm gonna fall.
You get random like kind of brief light,
because there's that,
and it makes it look like you're like going downstairs. I'm like, dude, like,
what was that shuffling floor? Which one was that?
Yeah,
was that the dark?
I think that was the dark one, but it was,
which is even more fucked. They're like, hey, it's dark.
I'm gonna
now
tear my ACL.
Well, I think that section, that whole part of it is just meant to be disorienting the whole way through, right? So I think it had. Excuse me, it had to have been. But I mean, I feel like I was the DD that night. I didn't have a drop to drink, and I'm having a tough time like remembering everything in order. And I mean, none of us were bombed or anything like that. But it's tough. There's so much.
It comes at you so quick, so fast, and it's like
you're like the whole time you're on edge. Like you're, you know what I mean? Like
you're in fight or flight.
As much fun as you're having.
Yeah.
As you're going through it, you're like your senses are heightened.
Nobody wants to be scared. When you get scared, I think you have like a brief lapse of like I don't remember what just happened. I got my shit scared.
Well, we all walked out of there and we were jacked up, ready to go.
Oh, I was.
I felt like
it
I
made the
had 5
ride
cups
home
of coffee.
so much easier because I was like,
right?
I'm wide awake.
Yep.
Now.
Yeah.
Perfect. Did you guys have I feel like we touched on this a little bit. Did you guys have a favorite actor, mask, or costume that you saw walking through? I feel like the dolls. We talked about the dolls.
I really I loved the short girl from the clown house. Because she was very sweet.
Yes,
I was like, oh, it's so nice.
Contrasting thing.
Yeah,
and I really liked the baby carriage scare on the outside. The last scare of the night for me, that was really good and creative. And bonus points because it was a kid getting started early in his haunt acting career. So good for him or her.
Chainsaw guys are always the ones that get me.
See, I think that's the most overrated stuff.
That
for
one
me.
I just kind of it's so easy to see where he is.
And there was someone else at one point. I think it was someone in line walking with the clickers.
Yes,
I like the clicky fingers.
I like the guys that I can't remember if we saw them outside, but I know we saw them around Christmas time. They have the pads on their knees where they can run and slide on their knees, and like they spark and they can slide like a long way. That was pretty cool.
That wasn't, I
think that was around. I think that was the Christmas one that we went to.
Yeah.
But those are always cool. the bungee scares, the jumping scares.
What
Those
was
are
the
always
guy
cool.
At the very end, like when we were leaving, and there's the guy. I pointed him out to someone, and I was like, "Oh, that's." He had a weird, like, almost like a mask on. It was like a sack mask or something.
Oh, almost like a burlap sack
Maybe,
type
I don't
mask.
remember,
Like,
but I was like, "Oh, that's so weird looking."
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot to take in. So, and again, I feel like I'm struggling to remember everything.
You saw your friend.
Yes, yep. I saw a few different actors that I've recognized that work across multiple haunted attractions, Barrett's and this. So it's and obviously we had a chance to meet a few of the people behind the scenes after the fact. And who knows? Maybe there'll be more on that later on this week.
Dude, that giant fucking
know,
animatronic monster at the end, like after the whole thing, like when you're outside waiting, that thing was sick.
Dude, all the animatronics were
so
fucking
sick.
insane.
Those are my favorite parts. I gotta say, because I can't remember any
The, like,
actors
big
specifically.
demon ones.
Yeah.
I was like, holy fucking
I was
shit,
like,
dude.
Jesus Christ, that thing's massive.
I mean, you don't really find shit
see
like that outside of
anywhere.
like Disney World,
No.
or Universal.
Like, nothing
or,
against Barrett's, but this place puts Barrett's to fucking shame.
Well, I feel like they're
Obviously, they
they're
have
completely different.
Yeah,
Barrett's,
I
like,
love
it's hard.
Barrett's.
To
I love
compare.
Barrett's.
I do too.
But after going to Barrett and this, I'm like, can we just go to Fright Kingdom instead? Like, I'd rather. just do that.
But there's tiers. Like there's every one.
See,
of
I will
those,
go to
so.
Barrett's every year.
Me
I feel
too,
like
yeah.
Barrett's
Well, it's also
is one of my favorite
at the
favorite
Ale House, which is
experiences.
great. It's right. It's local. It's nearby.
Yeah.
They don't obviously have the room.
And Barrett's was fucking scary, dude. That
Barrett's,
one fucking rips. They have a good house every year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't fuck around.
It's always bigger than it looks. I feel like whenever I'm in
That's
Barrett's,
like a 15, 20 minute thing.
but it always, I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, it's just like a house. You can just walk up, down, you're done.
Yeah,
But like,
and-
no, it's always takes way
And,
longer.
and this was kind of the same way too, but I feel like Barrett's like does a really good job utilizing the space in terms of like everything is tight, close quarters.
Yeah.
So you are like within an arm's reach of the scares like every time. I feel like they're in your face.
Yeah, this
like,
one you had. I had like a lot of room walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, and I kind of got until we went into the dark one. That one was like tight all the time.
Yeah.
Because even if you're like reaching for the walls, you're like, boom, like you're like, okay, this is all I have.
Yeah.
But then I was worried, like of feeling. I just didn't want to feel something like furry. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, dude, like I can't see a fucking thing. And so, like, whichever one of you guys said, "Oh, you're gonna feel like slimy." I was like, don't even.
Slimy would be the worst. Like if they just had like sticky shit on the wall, I'd be like, I don't like this.
Yeah,
This face.
I would have been a wreck, dude, if I like felt like something that was like slimy or like furry and prickly. I just because I immediately my brain would have went to like spiders.
If you had like gag
Yeah.
on the walls, like some sort
Yeah,
of like
that's the thing that I feel like they should have done in that
gag.
dark room that was had like stuff hanging that like brushes.
They did. There was
did at
stuff.
some
Oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't get hit by anything really.
Yeah.
You just ran.
Yeah, it was bad.
Well, did you have a hat on or no? I feel like if you had a hat on, the
didn't
bill
have
your
a hat
hat
on.
might. Okay.
No.
So I'm surprised you didn't get anything
I
because
don't
I
remember
definitely
that.
got some stuff.
Maybe because my arm was in front first.
I just kept yelling, "This is so fucked."
This is so
This
fucked.
sucks.
I don't like this.
Guys, so obviously mentioned they do obviously Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's Day, halfway to Halloween. If you could see them do another holiday,
4th of July.
what would it be? 4th of July. Interesting.
I feel like you could do something like just
an American themed haunted house. Uncle Sam and
the
fireworks.
purge. And
That would be
fucking
cool. That's a good idea.
Some fireworks just shooting off in your face. Like fireworks gone bad. And it's just like, oh my god!
Yeah.
It's like, it's like when the Plymouth fireworks just set on blaze
Oh
and do like that.
god. Yeah.
That'd be horrifying.
St. Patrick's Day, probably, right?
I feel like
St.
St. Patrick's
Patrick's
Day,
Day
I feel
would
there's
be
a lot of
It's just
material.
too close, like in
Yeah.
between. So
St. Patrick's Day, there's a lot of material to mine there in Irish cult. You could do leprechauns and banshees and all kinds of, weird Celtic lore. That would be interesting. I feel like Easter is also one that's pretty prime for that type of season with Easter
it's just
bunnies
they're
and-
all so like close together.
I know, it's a lot,
Kinda,
but I'm
yeah.
just saying, just like throwing stuff out there.
it's so
If they
hard
just
to
did like
think
a
of,
bug-related one where it's like you have worms, the giant mosquitoes.
A
and, like, all
bug-themed
these-
haunted house? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like a bunch
How
of
would you do
different
like a
gross
beach
bugs.
like summer themed?
Like
Jaws
I'm thinking
theme.
like jungle or something.
Thanks.
Amazonian.
Thanksgiving is always a good idea
Thanksgiving
too.
is good.
Pilgrims and turkeys and
It's a
One
lot
where you
of
wear a
that.
bathing suit and you're wading through waist-deep water.
Yeah,
just,
right? I'm like,
things
how would
touching
they
your
get
legs.
water
No,
in there?
thanks.
But remember, Barrett's they had that.
Yeah, that would be brutal.
The mist. Yeah. That's a really cool effect.
That'd
that
be
Barrett's
an
did.
insurance liability.
Oh yeah,
Just
they
drowning.
could never do that. They could never do.
It's
I
a
remember
dark place with just
So Universal Halloween Horror Nights one year did a Walking Dead haunted house, and they tried to do an effect in a room where there was a scene in one of the scenes of Walking Dead, a scene in one of the seasons of Walking Dead where there are zombies that had been like in standing water for months, and they were all bloated and gross. Mm-hmm. So they actually had you walk through a room, and there were these zombies like on either side of you, and they were in like water tanks. And I remember there was some sort of issue with it, but I feel like water in haunted houses, yes, with like the actors being in water all night and like.
Oh,
I feel I feel like it's a.
Ask someone to float
Well, they're not like over their
hours.
heads or anything. They were in like waist deep water, but I feel like even still like water in haunted attractions,
I mean,
it's tough.
yeah,
It's
you
tough to
can't-
pull off. So
You're gonna get
that's
soggy, buddy.
yeah, you're gonna get a little.
feet are going to be like prunes.
Yeah, prune. You're gonna prune up. All right, guys. Is there anything that we've missed or haven't talked about with Fright Kingdom? Anything else we want to say?
I love
Place
it.
fucking rocks.
Yeah.
It was sick. I had a lot of fun.
I want to go there every year, whether it's for Halloween or the Valentine's Day one. I don't fucking.
I feel like I want to check out the Valentine's Day one and obviously the Halloween one too.
I want to check.
Definitely down to do the Halloween one this year.
Yeah.
I think we should do that for sure.
I just think if you're a fan of Halloween, you got to go. If you're a fan of haunted attractions, you got to go. If you love
But it's
horror
not that
movies,
bad of
you
a
got to
ride.
go.
It's like, if you're in Massachusetts, it took us. I mean, we hit traffic on the way, but how long did it take us to get home?
We were also
Here's the other thing too.
Yeah.
If you go up on a Saturday night and it's not during the summer, you're not going to hit any.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, maybe during.
Well, on Halloween, they'll be busy.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
so
but that's like you'd hit the traffic in like downtown Nashua.
Yeah, it's not
which
gonna
is
be
fine.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the ride home was an hour and 15 minutes with
Yeah,
no
we
traffic. I
cruised.
mean, we didn't even really we hit Matt maybe 20-25 minutes of traffic. It took us like almost
And it wasn't
like
even,
barely, not even 2 hours.
it wasn't that bad. It was kind of
Yeah.
sparingly here and there. We just kind of
And
It would be fun to do like
pockets
a
of-
weekend
yeah.
up in New Hampshire and hit like 2 or 3.
So
different
we actually were
attractions.
talking about that in our car ride on the way home about potentially doing that because there's a couple attractions that I know, one that I haven't
Zip
been
way
to
up
and a couple
and
that
then
Matt
kind
has
of
been
trickle
to.
back
Haunted
down.
Overload, I just looked up, is only 20 minutes with Smith.
So there you go.
So we could
Haunted
maybe
Overload
go and
on a
see
Friday night.
Portsmouth.
So here's what we were thinking. So basically, drive up on a Friday night, hit Haunted Overload, stay in Portsmouth, wake up in Portsmouth on Saturday morning, spend the day in Portsmouth, try not to drink all day, and then hit Spooky World the second night, and then drive back. I feel like that's
Maybe
pretty.
get some
Fright
Brahms.
That's feasible. That's
dimmer.
feasible. And Fright Kingdom. Sorry, how could I forget
some
Fright
what?
Kingdom?
Maybe get some Lounge or
Lounge,
something.
dimmer.
Well, I know Matt's never been to Spooky World.
I have been to Spooky World.
Oh, the new one up there.
No. Oh, just in general.
Yeah.
I went when it was at.
I think I only went during COVID. Did we go COVID and it was like
So
haunted
we
hayride?
So we went when there were COVID restrictions in place, and we got to give it another shot. So
because that was
we'll figure it out.
I couldn't. It was the hayride. You couldn't see anything on 1 second. It was big.
Yeah, that was tough. It was tough. But
I'd like to go.
You know,
minus COVID.
a few years removed from that, I got to give him the points for opening and trying to make it work. And there were a few things didn't work, but I thought overall they did pretty good. So I don't know. We can figure out all that
Maybe
stuff.
hit a
I
Spooky
think
World on the Sunday.
I think we can. I think we can make it work. We'll figure it out
Yeah,
as we
we'll
get
figure
closer
it
to
out.
month
The
season.
trifecta.
Yeah. So Fright Kingdom kicks ass, and you should totally check it out. Whatever season it's open, go check out Fright Kingdom. That's what I got, guys. Anything else? Bueller?
That's all
Bueller?
for me.
Anyone? All right. Well, hope you enjoyed this episode, and you should definitely buy tickets to Fright Kingdom whenever it's open next, which at this point will be the Halloween season. And if you're interested in more of what we have to say, here's where you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, and whoever else you may get your podcasts. Subscribe. Leave us a review if you like the show, because that kind of thing really helps us out. And, keep checking back in with us, because we'll be bringing you more fun stuff each and every week, as we always do. My name's Mike. I've been joined by my fellow co-hosts, Andrew, Matt, and Kat. Lady, gentlemen, good evening.
Go Sox,
Adios,
and go Celtics, because the
muchachos.
Bruins suck.
Lots of Bruins.
How could I forget that there's a bust of Vincent Price that speaks and says good evening
that's
in
gotta be
the
on the-
That was
museum?
cool.
You gotta put that
Absolutely.
on the
Yep,
episode
absolutely.
thing
So,
for this.
with that being said, good evening. Bye.
Good evening.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.